That woman's comment that King Lion is responding to is in the face of dozens, if not hundreds of men responding to that guy's video. I have a couple videos on my own channel about it. To have her come in and say, well, men aren't holding men accountable.
That's because historically speaking, men have not held men accountable, nor have they been protecting women. Jolly, I have mad respect for you, but what you and that sloth you're siding with must understand something. You are the exception, not the rule. And just so you know, brother, I'm not siding against you because you're siding with homeboy. I'm going to tell you a personal story. One of my most favorite people in this world, I met her while I was deployed in 2012 in Afghanistan. Matter of fact, she is on TV right now. Before we got deployed, I didn't know who she was. She got attached to my unit, and we both watched wrestling one day and we became the best of friends. One day after being in the MWR with her, she walked out first. There was some commotion, and then I walked out. I saw my friend stumbling down the stairs, and I seen about 4 different dudes standing at the top of the stairs, but one in particular had a mean grimace on his face. Now, I didn't see what happened, but I could pretty much guess what happened. And later, from whispers, I found out what happened and why. Now, for context, if you're in the military, you are not supposed to fraternize. That means you don't need to do no boom boom room. That means you need to keep your genitalia away from the opposite or even the same sex. What I found out later is that was her ex-boyfriend. And she had broken up with him before the deployment started. And apparently, she was being courted by somebody else who is his higher up. And he put hands on her. And you know what I did? Nothing. I had no idea what to do because I didn't have evidence that he put his hands on her. Not until she confirmed it to me a couple of days later. At that moment, what I should have done is snitched on his whole ass. But I didn't. And the whole thing carried out to the point where it got her sent home and the guy that was courting her sent home because he lied that they were doing things. At that moment, I should have spoken up for her. I didn't do it. I did not protect a black woman, and I feel ashamed to this day that I did not do that. But did you remember what I said? There was 4 black men plus me. So there was 3 separate black men who were not a part of that situation, who witnessed another black man put his hands on a black woman while we are in Afghanistan fighting for our fucking lives. And nobody did a goddamn thing. So even if I did it, there was still 3 other men who should have put hands on him and let him the fuck know, but nobody did it. I've only told maybe 3 people about that story. And I'm telling you that story because I need you to understand that you are the exception, not the rule. So when a woman says that we don't hold each other accountable, historically speaking, we do not. Examples. Roe v. Wade. How many men are on the bench right now in the Supreme Court? Women do not have full body autonomy because of men. Not too long ago, North Carolina finally stricken down their marital grape rules. And you know what that means. If you're married, it's not grape. That law was around for a long ass time before it got struck down. That's not us protecting women. And it damn sure ain't us holding men accountable. What, women couldn't get a credit card all the way up into the 1980s? Donald Trump got voted into office even though we heard sound bites of him admitting to being a rapist. Where's the accountability? Where is it? People like Andrew Tate exist because we don't hold men accountable, and all his little clones out there exist because we don't hold men accountable for what they do and say. And there are literal people raping children, and those children get pregnant. How are we holding those people accountable? You know what? But that's nationally. That's nationally. Let's go more community wise. And to add a little context, black men have not been able to hold white men accountable because we do not have the power to do that. We weren't even able to protect our wives from the time our ancestors got here all the way to fuck up into like the 80s. So black men historically and culturally has not been able to hold men accountable, and specifically white men. But let's talk about us. Let's talk about black men. And you know I love hip hop, so I'm going to use hip hop. From the time hip hop was conceived, we've had black men disrespecting black women and holding none of them MCs accountable. When Roxanne Shante did her diss, what made her famous, there was a response by the one and only KRS-One who said she's good for nothing but she was like 16 years old. Nobody said shit. They let him put that out. All the way up to Snoop Dogg and bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on these and suck the. Dr. Dre beat up D. Barnes. Just recently, Megan Thee Stallion was shot by Tory Lanez, and before any of the evidence came out, people hopped down Megan Thee Stallion's throat. And even when Megan tried to protect Tory, make sure he don't get shot by the cops, they still dogged her. And while this whole case was pending, Tory Lanez was able to release music. Where's the accountability? Okay. They didn't sentence him yet. We didn't know if he was guilty. Why are we not holding the men accountable who dogged Megan Thee Stallion? Why is that not happening? We made excuses for Chris Brown turning into fucking Holyfield on goddamn Rihanna. And I don't want to hear that she put her hands on him first. She was 110 pounds. You can get away from her. No one should put their hands on each other, but you know what? If a 90-pound girl put her hands on me, first of all, I'm not going to feel it. Second of all, I can get away from her. Kels. I don't even need to say nothing else. Culturally, we do not protect black women. Most violent crimes committed against black women are done by black men. And while that's not some like crazy thing, because most white women are hurt by white men. Same statistic. Then when you look at all the sexual statistics, it's downright disgusting. You are smart, so you can look at those statistics yourself. I feel like it would be a waste of your brain matter to listen to me ramble on something I'm pretty sure you already know. Shit, I got another thing that I want to share with you. Every single woman, black woman, that I've dated have told me a horror story about somebody in their family who essayed them. Every single one. And when I was in high school, my high school girlfriend was telling me that her stepdaddy was doing her dirty. I did something then. Oh, I'm proud of myself then. I did something then. I told my aunt, who had police officer friends, he left the house, but guess what? He couldn't be arrested. The stepdaddy got away. And you know what we found out? He was wanted in Canada for doing the same shit. But because of the white man's laws, even though she admitted to it, they couldn't do a damn thing about it. Not a goddamn thing. That's not holding men accountable. That's not protecting women. I did my part, but the system did not. And it is true. Some of us, me, you, and even the sloth that said what he said, we all went after homeboy's meteorite head. We did. We absolutely did. But you know the fuck what? That's not even a speck. That's not a speck. Because for every one of him, there's other dudes who are not being checked. He's not on the internet right now. He's doing exactly what homeboy's doing. He's not talking about it. He's doing it. And he has friends who knows he's doing it. He's not, and they're not doing a goddamn thing about it. As a black man, you should understand the same fucking thing. And even actual white allies and accomplices understand this. Because when black people talk about how we don't trust the Mayo folk, when we talk about that, the white allies, the real white allies, and the real accomplices shut up. Because they understand that we're not talking about them. So when you, in sloth, decide, oh, that's a bad starting point for a conversation that men don't hold other men accountable, what you're actually doing is hollering like a dog who's been hit. Hit dogs holler. We know that all the male folk aren't completely terrible. We know that, but the system that built it makes them that way. Literally builds them that way. Even people who are not intending to be. It builds them that way. And it's the same exact for men. The system that was built specifically in this country for white men is built in a way that do not protect women, and we have not been protecting women or holding men accountable for it. Yes, there's been little victories and male feminists and men who take care of women. But again, you are a speck. I am a speck. I'm a speck on what is on a fucking elephant. On a elephant of a system that is built to stand and crush the backs of women, people of color, disabled people, LGBTQ. Yeah. I hope you made it through the entire video. I want you to know I respect you, but yeah, exception, not the rule.